masculine essence. How do we begin defining what masculinity is beyond perfectionism in a world where masculinity is seen as a threat? What is masculinity? How do we differentiate between toxic masculinity and healthy masculinity, between distorted masculinity and empowered masculinity? Never have I ever seen as many confused men as to what they are meant to embody these days. Now, what I've seen is that masculinity has become some sort of external goal, as if we can achieve a certain masculinity, as if men can achieve a certain way of being masculine. When in fact, the masculine essence, just like the feminine essence, is within. You can't achieve what is within. You can return to it, yes, and that will look unique to you. No one can ever say what you are meant to embody, what it is that you are, what makes you masculine. Because every single one of us have got both feminine and masculine tendencies. Every single one of us have both feminine and masculine energies within. And being able to come into your masculinity also is going to be dependent upon how well you have become familiarized and met your inner feminine, right? And so it's the very same thing for women. Your level of deepening into your feminine essence is going to be in direct proportion to how well you have met your masculine energy. Yeah? So being able to get this clear straight up front is extremely important for me now, because masculine essence is not something to be achieved. The moment that you think that you can achieve your sense of masculinity, you have by default subscribed to perfectionism, because that is what perfectionism is. It is looking externally and thinking that you can do certain things in order to be worthy of certain things. So you can do certain things in order to be worthy of your masculinity. When in fact your masculinity is already there, deep within. It's all about returning to it, nourishing it, right? And claiming it, especially as a man. So, how do we define masculine essence? Masculine essence is a grounded presence. If you can look at basically a mountain, then you will recognize that a mountain is steady, right? It's a steady force that is still and that is grounded. So being grounded then, I would say, defines, masculinity, the masculine essence. Just like the waters are flowing, the mountain is more still and grounded. That is not to say that some men, in fact, I think several men, have got more of a feminine essence within them, and other men have more of a masculine essence within them. Some of them have both. And being able to come to accept that is absolutely crucial in order to bloom beyond perfectionism, right? To not have to pretend or put on some sort of mask or armor to pretend that you are something that you're really not. Yeah? Because that is perfectionism. So moving forward now, on the podcast, I wanted to now cover the masculine essence. I've already covered the feminine essence and all of the different feminine virtues that you might come to recognize, right? So the masculine essence, being a grounded presence, I would say have these masculine virtues: action, protection, strength, integrity, wisdom, intellectualism, objectivity, warrior-like, right? Logic, assertiveness, risk-taker, discipline, generosity, loyalty, dependability, solidness, resilience, clarity, groundedness, directionality, endurance, and power. So these are some masculine virtues, if you could say so, that when combined, you really truly come more into this kind of grounded presence that makes it so that you gain more and more and more trust in yourself, and you have more of a self-acceptance, right? So toxic masculinity then, in contrast to the masculine essence, would have certain traits too that you can begin identifying within yourself. And toxic masculinity really is equal to wounded masculinity. So it really comes from that place of woundedness. Typically, when you embody wounded masculinity, it is due to some sort of trauma or traumas that have caused you to put some sort of label or story or a meaning onto it, where you think that in order for you to get X, Y, and Z, you will have to cope in a certain way for you to basically excel, for you to survive, for you to thrive. And it really just is rooted in that sense of woundedness. And so perfectionism, is a form of, or can become a form of toxic masculinity when you take it to the extent where you begin embodying these different masculine traits that are toxic or wounded or rooted in woundedness. So you've got domination, hyperactivity, stubbornness, calculation, blindly ambitious, cold, cruel, aggression, abuse, criticism, confrontational, competitiveness, instability, controlling, unemotional, tough, entitlement, and blind power, right? Now, these different toxic masculine traits, can actually, come forward for both men and women, truly. So if you've got, these traits as a woman, they might, show themselves in a different way than they would for women, but still, we all got feminine and masculine dynamics within ourselves. And so it's really, really useful to know what these are so that you can begin observing them and realizing that, okay, if I come off cold, or if I'm really aggressive or controlling and have a need to control myself, others, and the outcome, then that might be a signal for me that I might lean more towards the toxic masculine end right now, that there are aspects within me that I haven't integrated yet, that actually are fragmented. And when they're fragmented,
I can't fully love myself. I can't fully open up and love others either. I can't fully open up and love others either. How do you really define toxic? What is toxic? I find this to be a really relevant discussion and something that is necessary to just talk about right now as well, because I don't think anyone would ever want to, be called toxic, or I don't think that anyone would want to identify with having toxic traits within themselves. But these are just shadow sides of ourselves, which again is rooted in some sort of fragmentation where we have abandoned ourselves at some point. So when we're talking about toxic, it's like, okay, so toxic to you? Is it toxic to others? Toxic to society as a whole? Toxic to just men? Toxic to women? Toxic to the LGBTQ community and non-binary community? It's really important to distinguish the definition of what toxic masculinity is and who it is toxic to. Because one kind of toxicity that's really overlooked is probably the toxicity that toxic masculinity has on men, right? This is particularly what I'm intending to address here on the following podcast, right? And really demystify what this kind of toxic masculinity is not. Basically, in contrast, talk about what is the masculine essence that is empowered. So focusing on that rather. Right now, men typically are looking to people like Andrew Tate, Donald Trump for their form of masculinity, and others are looking to Joe Biden and Michael Phelps for theirs. I mean, most men actually are wired to have some sort of image in their mind or some sort of idol or role that they can kind of look to. And I think that especially during these times where men are very confused about what it means to be a man, what it means to have masculinity and operate and act from that place, I think now more than ever, they're looking for, and you might be looking for, some sort of image to attain to. And that is where perfectionism can come into the picture, where you look externally to someone else to try to become that. And if you are not that, then you begin telling yourself stories like, I'm not worthy. I'm not that. I can't be masculine because I'm not that, right? So this is crucial to address too. The reality here is that there will always be toxic sides to everything. There will always be some sort of woundedness to everything to some extent. Nothing is void of downfall or side effects. All these individuals that, you might be looking up to, are not perfect. None of them. They all have things that keep them up at night. They all have ways that they wish that they were better or more effective. And therefore, they have varying levels of toxicity, right? Of toxicity in their lives. So your version of toxicity and woundedness might not be the same as somebody else's. So if you're a guy, right, asking this question, what is toxic masculinity? Ask yourself instead, what is toxic to me? What is toxic to me? What ways of being and me showing up is not effective at me basically reaching my goals or basically have empowered behaviors to realize my intentions? What values and habits and patterns is it that is not helping me within my relationships
and ultimately having me feel, a kind of lack of joy, a lack of passion and purpose and fulfillment and love and acceptance. What is it that is blocking me from my masculine essence here? So these are all things that, everyone wants: purpose, fulfillment, love, acceptance, passion, including men. And so being able to now, moving forward, dig into the masculine essence is going to be crucial. It's going to be so crucial. Because, again, now more than ever, are men in need of some sort of groundedness themselves into what the masculine essence really is, so that you can begin drawing upon it yourself and assembling yourself again after probably years and years and years of pretending to be something else. In a world that says that it's not okay to be a man. In a world that says that men and women are absolutely 100% equal in all manners and ways, when in fact, men and women, the masculine and feminine, have got different ways about themselves, different traits about themselves, different essences within themselves. And that is okay, that you are allowed to claim your masculine essence. Here is your permission slip from me to you, right? That you get to choose your masculine essence. And I will do my very best in really communicating from a place of being an empowered feminine who have also worked through several of the shadow sides within masculinity, because yes, I also have masculinity within myself. In fact, most of my life, I have been more in my masculine than I have encountered the feminine essence. And so the following podcasts, sure, they're really dedicated to men, yet they're also really beneficial for women, because we all, again, have masculine energy within ourselves, right? It's so needed that we're able to kind of balance out these energies, so to speak. And the intention here is to give you that permission slip that you get to claim for yourself and choose masculine essence. I coach both men and women within the Bloom Beyond Tribe, within the Bloom Beyond Perfectionism Program, Bloom Beyond Mastermind. I am really for coaching both men and women. As one myself, I really think that my way of coaching and my energy can be just as healing for women to be around as for men, and vice versa. And so hopefully my voice and what it is that I express can resonate to some degree with you, right? And that you can allow yourself to be activated by a woman talking about the masculine essence the way that I see it, after having, had several relationships with men, both my father, my brother, as well as, other men and boyfriends and partners, right, too. So I have encountered both, men that have embodied the toxic masculine aspects, the wounded masculine aspects, the distorted masculine aspects. Yet I have also encountered those men who have embodied the empowered masculine, right? The wholesome masculine, the divine masculine, within themselves. And so this is what enables me to then talk about this. And this is what enables me to coach other men in the journey of overcoming perfectionism, because perfectionism can be a huge, huge, huge hinder in you actually creating shifts and change in your life. And I think that men can learn a tremendous amount from being around women and really get to know themselves through the lens also of the empowered women. You can join the Bloom Beyond tribe at any time by going to bloombeyond.com/apply. So then you'll get a free monthly cohort in there to basically discover more about yourself, your current situation, your desired situation, me enabling you and coaching you through that journey of bridging that gap right there and coming more and more fully into your masculine essence. I'm sending you so much light and love. Thank you so much for being here. Stay bright, brave, and balanced.